night is young. It's not really that young.
Man, the night is young, and guess what night it is?
Oh, I don't know. It says
Well, I don't know.
this is how long I've
It is the 24th of July, so you'll be hearing fireworks probably in the background, quite possibly, because there's a lot of fucking idiots and morons outside who are easily entertained with their slack jaw, drooling mouths, watching sparklers and a little burst of flame.
What? Dude, it's a fine holiday, the 24th of July, when
yeah, sure it is.
Utah.
So if anyone's listening that doesn't live in Utah, first of all, this is Mentally Challenged with Mark, 24th of July, Hansen, and J.R. Torino, the Master Butcher.
Now we're still calling it that, huh? Mentally Challenged.
Of course. And then the 24th of July is a Utah state holiday that celebrates the day the Mormon pioneers arrived here in Utah, which is really nothing to celebrate. It's actually kind of a terrible thing, but...
Is it?
I'm kidding. I'm just being a nasty boy.
I know.
Or do I mean it?
No, you don't mean it.
You know what's funny is they went to New York and Missouri, I think, and a couple other states, and they were told pretty much across the board, get the fuck out of here. And they came here because nobody was here pretty much.
Yeah.
And here we are.
All in
one big happy melting pot.
It was part of Mexico, I think, at the time, if I'm not mistaken, but...
Is that right?
From what I understand, at least part of the state was. Like, if you go pre-1867, I think it was the... I don't know. I don't know the exact history of it, but I should, being a good Utah boy that I am.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because it's pretty much common knowledge around the country that Joesph Smith, the head of the guy who invented Mormonism, was pretty much a snake oil salesman, according to most people.
Was he?
That's what people are saying, just said, hey, got some rubes. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
I don't know. Have you read the Book of Mormon?
I actually have perused through it. Someone, I think, sent me one when I did my radio show back in the day. And then another time at the restaurant, somebody left me one as either they were serious or joking or something. But yeah, I looked through it and didn't see anything. Although, really, it's just like any other religious book. The Bible, the Quran, there's all these stories that you could equate with being like not so much angels and holy pious creatures, but alien visitations, depending on how you look at it,
And that's kind of how I see it. I mean, either he was, he did it when he was 14 years old. So regardless of like what you think, whether it's truth or lie, I mean, it's genius. How many 14-year-olds could pull that off?
He was 14 when he did it?
I think so, yeah.
I think he was older than that, but I don't know.
Anyway, right,
what does that matter? So you mentioned Mexico. What do they have to do with Mexico?
Well, no, I think Utah before it was settled was actually part of Mexico somehow. If you look at like
I don't think it was. I mean, you might be thinking of the Louisiana Purchase.
No, I'm thinking of like pre-1867 map.
Texas was definitely part of Mexico, as was New Mexico, I think. But maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
If you pull up I'm going to Google it right now. I'll pull up a map right now. Let's see. I hate my phone. Hold on. Pre-1867 map. United States. So let's look at that. This one up.
Well, what do you got, Jiggler?
Nothing. Doesn't look like. Let's see.
That's what I thought. Well, anyway, speaking of Mexico, what?
Okay, acquired from Mexico. Yeah. So like most of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and lots of Colorado. Acquired by Mexico by conquest and treaty. I'm not sure how Utah acquired it, but probably by a little bit of both, as a lot of these settlements, come to be.
Well, speaking of Mexico or Mexico, did you see the news? I think I sent it to you, but
Brujeria.
Ciriaco Quezada, aka Pinche Peach, the guy that I thought was so fucking funny and so engaging when I saw them live, has passed away at the age of 57 from heart
57.
problems. That
Ah,
sucks.
yeah, it does.
They
But you
were a
know, it's
really good band live, and he was like the one that made it. Like exactly, like just the facial emoting, just the body language, the vocals, everything. He was so fucking funny, so interesting to watch. And he had a skullet. I mean, who makes a skullet other than Devin Townsend? Who makes a skullet look cool than this guy, Pinche Peach?
yeah,
It's too
yeah.
bad. He's got like a Klingon look too. He's just got this big forehead, these big hawkish eyebrows that arch in the middle. He looks like a Klingon, man. He's fucking cool.
Yeah. But isn't it wild, like, kind of, I think about it quite a bit. Like when I think about like even like extreme metal, like just how long it's been a genre. You know what I mean? Like starting in, yeah, you could even say like just mid '80s with
You bring that up
Venom.
a lot. You know, what's funny is you're actually right because as you know, we went to that Carcass show and we were outside talking after the show, and it hadn't even occurred to me, but it seemed like The Abyss in my mind, my record store, The Abyss, was just like a few years ago. And you're like, dude, that was over 20 years ago now. I was like, holy shit. It
Yeah.
was. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean we don't really feel that much like older, but you look at like the bands you grew up with, like, just some of those early death metal bands, like, your Morbid Angels and Obituary and all that stuff, and you're like, "Oh my god, yeah," like, they're all in their late 50s, some are even starting to get in their 60s. I think, oh, I could be wrong, but I think Alex Webster from Cannibal Corpse is 62, you know? It's just kinda wild,
Not
to
that old, is he?
I'm looking it up, I could be wrong.
Well, you know what? I just turned 54 on July 17th. That
Oh,
was
well,
my
guess what? He's 54 years old.
There
So
you
there you
go. Yeah,
go,
I didn't think he was that old yet. Most of those guys are the same age as we are. So my birthday
I
was last week. I just turned 54, and I got to tell
oh,
you,
happy
man, we've
birthday.
had this conversation in the past too. Is you're only as old as you feel,
Yeah.
and other people will try to tell you that you're past it because you're over 40 or 50. It's just depends on what you do, how you take care of yourself, all that kind of stuff. What your mind, a lot of it's in your head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, yeah, I was thinking about that too, like, I kinda truly believe it, and I hate to say it because I think a lot of it might have to do with the fact that, like, I never had kids. So in a
Oh yeah.
way, I never really had to grow up, you know what I mean?
You didn't have
Eh,
kids, and you were married once, but I've never really even had a
mm,
girlfriend more than a few years, and I just don't fucking want it. It's just too much stress, you know. It's just
mm.
like fuck. And I've
So
always
I
said, live your life and it's enjoy. Like come home, fucking eat a good meal, watch some TV, listen to some music. That's what life is. You don't have to like report to somebody else and where the fuck were you and why didn't you come home? What were you doing? And
tell
I'm
that
just
to my
not into it.
boss.
I
Yeah, I
don't know if
know.
I can't say all marriages would be like that, but at the same time, it's just like I don't like reporting to somebody else and sharing everything, and I got to go to bed when they go to bed, and it's not my thing.
Yeah. Hey,
I love women, don't get me wrong, but I just can't conform. I'm not a conformist. I'm not going to do what they want all the time. It's just not going to happen. So you're
yeah,
the same
yeah.
way, I can tell.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying it was like it's necessarily a good thing. There's a lot of things like where I'm like, man, I've hit rock bottom so many times because of, like I don't think there was that fire under my ass, where I had to like, oh man, if I don't pull down this paycheck, my kids will die, you know, or just kind of have that thing outside of yourself to really have to take care of.
Oh,
So
I
I'll
get
let
it. And
I'll
on
let
the other
myself
hand,
down all the time.
a lot of people try to use that against you and say, well, you need to believe in someone else in your life. I'm like, no, I don't.
Eh,
Like I can take care of kids if I have to. I just don't want them. I can take care of a girlfriend if I have to. I just don't want to be married. I don't why, you know, it's
I don't know. I
if
have a
I
hard time.
find an awesome girl and it works out, it works out. I'm not going to go like force it on the other hand, but
Yeah, yeah,
speaking of
no, no.
paycheck, guess what?
What?
Did you know that in a few more weeks I will not be getting a paycheck?
Uh-oh. Are you leaving the restaurant?
No,
Well,
the
no,
restaurant
it's
is leaving
closing.
me.
I think I read some news about that.
Yeah, we are closing our doors for good. It's sad.
Oh man.
Sugarhouse is just being overtaken by corporate bullshit.
Yep.
So
Yep. It's
Chase Bank is greedily corporatizing the spot that we are on right now, and they were apparently wanting it previously.
mm-hmm.
And the owner of that land said no, but now he's saying yes. And so we
Oh
have
yeah.
to move, but we can't move because we can't afford it because we're a little bit in debt because it's been so slow. Since post
Of
COVID, we've done
COVID. Yep.
okay business. What's that?
hmm Yeah, but COVID probably set you back though.
Well, COVID, you know what? We had a drive-up window because it used to be a bank. So that's always
Yeah.
saved our asses during COVID. Plus, it was just a great feature for a restaurant. However, because of COVID, that everybody, and like I told you, we've had shows before, like they drove up prices of meat prices and they're continuing to do so just because they just are. And they're getting
hmm
away with it. That's the problem. But
Inflation. Yeah.
I talked about it with plastic, like it was hard to press a CD because everybody was like, oh, plastic prices are so high because of COVID. I'm like, what the fuck does COVID have to do with pressing a CD?
It has
You're in
more
a
to do
room
with
by yourself.
inflation.
It's just fucking bullshit. It's
No,
bullshit.
it's just the value of the dollar.
Corporate greed bullshit. That's all it is. So because of that, like prices of food, like for example, chicken wings, they went up $1 over the weekend. They went from like 93 cents to $1.93 last weekend, I was
hmm
told.
hmm
It's just horseshit. So you can't be a small business. So now you're gonna notice the Sugar House area is all the mom and pop stuff is going under. Like there's a few more places going under or that are losing money because they also have this ceaseless construction where they're tearing up 21st South, which
So
is the main
they're
artery
blocking
street through there.
access. Yeah.
That's the main street through there for those who aren't to know. And then it's just endless construction. Things are blocked off.
Mhm.
Meat prices. The city's not helping out anybody financially, things like that. So it's just they're giving like really small amounts of money. So it's just like, well,
It's the
we can't
corporatization.
move, we can't do anything, so we're gonna have to close our doors. So yeah, Sugar House Barbecue is going bye
Yeah,
bye after a few more weeks.
that sucks, man.
It does suck because it's gonna leave nothing but shit barbecue in this fucking state now. And you can quote me on that.
Hey, no, there's still queue for you.
No, he's just in a truck now.
Is he? Yeah.
He's always just done a food truck for like the
Well,
last
have you
10,
guys thought
15
about
years.
that? Like, is that a
Well, you
model?
got to have somewhere to go and do it, man. Like, really, though, I mean, a food truck, it's for what we've done all these years, it's kind of like a waste of time. I mean, we could do it, but
Mm,
to be like the great restaurant we were, where all these people came, like neighborhood, it was a
Yeah,
destination spot. Out of staters loved it. We were gluten free, so we had a bunch of gluten free people who ate there. All
mhm.
gone now. Just stupid.
Yeah, that
Fucking pisses
sucks.
me off, but if I have my way, I'll bring it back someday. I'll call it Slaughterhouse Barbecue instead. It'll be like a metal
Dude,
theme. But
you
what?
should.
You
You
think?
should, man. Yeah, man. That
You
would
know
be
what's funny
rad.
is talking
You
of
should
that. Like
you should
I think
connect it to you should connect it like I don't know, connect it to Aces High, the one
that's
metal
actually not
theme
a bad
bar.
idea. I thought about that. What if we did a bar, but it had good barbecue food?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. But I was going to say I could call it. I'm joking, calling it Slaughterhouse Barbecue, but I would think like maybe I could have a little corner like where there's a CD shop, and kind of a little more towards hard rock and metal in there with the music and stuff. Not too much to put off the other people who might eat there that are normal.
Some vinyls, or maybe even just have vinyl there and like a cool like really high end like uh you know turntable. And
But here's
people
another
can just
thing
go
too
up and
is
just flip through a bunch of old underground records and throw one on and eat
well,
and drink.
I just might do it. And on that
Uh,
topic too, it's funny because there's two other things relating to that. Is number one is I was thinking about doing a metal DJ gig if they'll have it at Aces High. I just go down there and like I used to do at that other bar in Sugarhouse, like just go down and play music and maybe sell some stuff there. And
yeah.
I kind of wanted to tie it in with the barbecue, but now that's not going to be a reality. But I could still go down there and DJ. I don't know, but
But you like just as far as like the barbecue stuff goes, like the like you would know how to make that stuff, right? Like
oh, of
all the
course.
secret recipes and all the techniques and all the smoking techniques and the ways, right?
Barbecue
Like,
is it's a very fickle thing. Like a lot of people
yeah.
like think theirs is better because they took pepper or they do honey
No,
and
I mean,
mustard. Just fuck off. All you need to do is smoke the meat. Sauce is irrelevant. If you don't have good meat without the sauce from the first bite, then you're fucking failed already. So
Like, and that's what I mean. Like, like all the ways to smoke it and
yeah,
properly.
I mean, I've done that
How
forever.
long, what temperature, what wood, all that kind of stuff.
And it's funny because I've seen a lot of places come and go here in Salt Lake, and it's just they're trying to jazz it up. It's just like everything else, like Italian food and burgers. Everybody's like, "Oh, I have spaghetti sauce with chocolate and coffee and rose
Mm.
hips and like rose petals and sun roasted." I'm like, no, how about just tomato and garlic and onion? That's all you
No,
need.
I was talking about that with somebody else because I was thinking about Japan. I guess I was talking to a friend about going to, like visiting Japan, and one of like the famous dishes, or kind of like not even really famous, but like a standard dish in Japan is like what do they call it? Just those noodles, right? Like I think it's called sabi.
No idea.
Shop.
I'm not a big Asian food guy.
Ramen. Well, it's like ramen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The the best ramen is usually like three ingredients, right? It's noodles, like broth,
Yeah.
and
Well,
like
that's what I mean. People like try to jazz shit up. Like with burgers here in Salt Lake, you can get one or two places have a supremely good burger because they season the meat, and then all you have on it is cheese, maybe some bacon, and some veggies. That's it. All these other
but I mean,
places are like, oh, I have a kimchi burger or peanut butter and jelly on top of the burger, or I have a donut on top of the burger, or I have like shredded cheese and like
well,
pork
listen,
belly. How about just a good seasoned burger patty with a
try
slice of
peanut
cheese?
butter.
That's
Like
all you fucking need.
there was a girl I
Like
was dating. She took me to a barbecue and they put peanut butter, and I was actually quite impressed with
well, at
peanut butter
Lucky
burger.
13, if you go to Lucky 13, they do actually have a peanut butter burger. Their smoked bacon. It's actually pretty good. But I'm
Mm.
being facetious. But there's a lot of
No,
places.
I
My
know what you
point
mean.
is,
Where
people
it's like,
jazz up shit. They jazz it up. It's just like first concentrate on what the meat's going to taste like, the main focal point of your dish. Then worry about all the jazzy shit on top. And you don't
well,
even
and
need that shit.
honestly, and think about it, like, and this is, I think, kind of a Utah origin thing, but think who makes the best burgers in Utah? It's the Greeks, right? It's all those Greek joints. Apollo, Astro,
Those are good
Bad
burgers
Greek.
for fast food, but me personally, I like a little bit more of a like a beef patty. I'm like, believe it or not, Longhorn Steakhouse, they're a chain, but I had a fucking excellent burger there. The meat was seasoned perfectly. It was so good. Nobody does that. It's just a basic patty. They just throw it on the grill. They don't give a fuck, but then it's all this shit they put on top. That's when everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have chocolate sauce and kimchi and
Mm.
shrimp. And like, no, just season the meat. That's all you need. Then you
Well,
won't need anything else on it. Then you can add up to another burger and have a jazzy, weird burger like that. But
what is that place that serves a kimchi burger? It's in Midvale. It's what
it's in
the bee?
Sugarhouse,
No, it's just something about a bee.
BRG
No, it's like an
or
actual like
BGR. Sorry,
bzzz.
Burgers Grilled Right. It's in Sugarhouse. There's the main ones in Sugarhouse. They have a
No,
kimchi burger because the
no,
owners are Asian.
there's a Korean joint in Midvale. It's called
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know.
Hold on.
I would not
Uh,
get a burger from a Korean restaurant. I can tell you
What?
that right
No,
now.
no, it's actually quite good, dude. Yes, you would.
No, I wouldn't.
You worked at Cup Bop. Come on, man.
Exactly.
No, not every Korean is Cup Bop. Hold on.
But that's not my point. Is like certain let's just say that when I've worked in certain restaurants, certain vendors who service restaurants in the valley have told me horror stories about Asian restaurants. And that is not a racial comment at all. It's just saying that like they have
Bumblebees.
certain qualifications that they don't deem as important as we do here.
It's called.
Like headless chickens laying on the counter, for example, things like that.
I'm down with that. Um,
Are you?
every day. Yeah, is the Colby burger. It's called Bumblebees Barbecue and Grill.
Oh, I've
And
heard. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I've heard of that. And they were actually, ironically, that you mentioned Cup Bop, is they're a rival truck to Cup Bop. I was on the trucks with Cup Bop, they were a big rival company. And they even, I think Cup Bop tried to sue them because it was guys who used to work at Cup Bop.
really, it's very good.
And here's what's funny about that is when I worked at Cup Bop, they had a fusion truck, like one truck called Kotako. It was Mexican Asian or a Korean Asian, sorry, Korean Mexican fusion, and it was some of the most vile food I've ever seen in my life, and it didn't last too long.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, same thing. Those guys are always trying to spin it and like do something different. Like flair and creativity is cool, but the burger is an all-American thing, as is barbecue, and you don't need to fucking jazz it up. Like people do barbecue, they're like, oh, I use this wood and that, and I put, like wood shaving from like my oak tree in there. It's like, no, just use one kind of wood, cook your meat, and if your meat tastes good, then you're set. If you have a good sauce, even better. That's all you need. You don't need fucking peppers and all these spices, and it's just stupid, like you got to start from the ground up. You don't just start with the icing first, and that's what a lot of people do, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. Speaking of other restaurants, though, is we never talked about it. You remember Fatal Cause? I know you know Wicked Innocence, but Fatal Cause. Remember those bands?
Mm,
Unsound Minds. Well, anyway, one of their members, their singer from some of those bands, Jeremy Sandias, has his own restaurant not too far from my house. Have you heard of Burgertory?
no, I like the name though. What a great
It's
name.
like Purgatory, but Burgertory.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's a horror themed burger joint. So everything is like the Exorcist burger, the Jaws burger. It's a fish sandwich. There's the Texas Chainsaw, like whatever, Hellraiser
Oh,
burger. They all have their theme, like what they are. I haven't actually been there because I'm always at work, but I should go there because it's right by my house. But he's the owner of that place, and from what I see, everybody's raving about how good it is and the fact that it's like a horror themed joint and it's doing pretty well. It seems like. So I think
that's
maybe
good.
a metal barbecue joint could handle it too.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you're anyone listening, go check out Burgertory. Mark, look up the address, Burgertory.
Burgertory.
Burgertory in West Valley City, Utah. It's
I'm the only one with access to Google here.
I don't
Burger.
want to do it because I'm relaxing.
Oh, so much, dude. I'm in bed. You're basically tucking me in.
Oh yeah, that's
Burgertory.
what I do,
It's
man. My voice just slithers all over your body, your hopeless, helpless, clammy, naked body under the sheets.
oh, that's enough. 3197 South Redwood Road, Suite 9. I like that area. There's a lot of good Vietnamese restaurants around that area
Yeah,
too.
it's literally around the corner from my house, kind of, and it's
Yeah.
like it's funny because there's one or two good Mexican places out here, and there's a billion gazillion other lowbrow Mexican places, and just all kinds of Asian places. But anyway, yeah, Burgertory. Everybody should go check it out. A lot of metal people love that place, obviously. So, but keep your
Yeah.
eyes open, Salt Lake City, because I'm not done with you yet. You're gonna have some shit barbecue for a while, but I promise to come back at some point and take it back over.
Dude, I think this is
So I'm
man, we
putting you
should
all
really,
on reports. I'm gonna take my barbecue heavyweight title belt back. I'm gonna kick everybody's asses and get all my people back. That's what I'm gonna do.
all right. Well,
My
let's
wrestling promo for barbecue in Salt Lake.
dude, come up with a business plan, man. I'll get some we'll do some capital.
Well, first things first is I need to make better money. That's one of the things that happened here because it was just a small local place. My cousin's the owner of Sugarhouse BBQ, so I'm sure I could probably finagle, like, if not the name, then maybe some of the recipes. I don't need to, but other than that, I mean,
Do you think
really.
he would do that, or would it be
Well, he's
competitive?
already said it before that yeah, it's all cool. I don't know if he was being flippant or not, but even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. I still know what to do. I'm not going to copy their shit. I'll just do
I
my
mean,
own. Know what
to
to
me,
do.
it's like it goes back to music, like you know, you can love Morbid Angel, but another death metal band will come along that has a little twist on it, right?
Yeah, of
And you
course.
love that band, and they're not enemies. They tour together.
For me, that would be Deicide. Like I always liked Morbid Angel. I heard them first out of the earliest death metal, and then Deicide came along. I was like, who the fuck are these guys? But I just put Deicide's Legion on my phone today to listen to. You'd be proud of me. I'm not
Dude,
keeping them at
Legion,
arm's
yeah,
length anymore.
dude. And how about that album? Like, that's an
That is
insane
actually a
album.
good album. I gotta admit that when I
Mhm.
bought that record and I played it on the radio back in the day, everybody just freaked the fuck out. I thought this is actually a pretty good record. I like the vocals too. They're just so extreme at the time. It's just a good satanic death metal, like thrashy death metal, Florida fucking metal album. It's
Yeah,
pretty good.
well, and
I
honestly,
can't
I
diss
mean,
on Deicide. Just Glenn Benton, the way he acted
dude,
back then, the
he's
dumb shit that he said just turned me off because I'm like an actual Satanist. But I was like, okay, real Satanists don't act like that. But this is death metal, whatever. He's just saying shit that freaks
he's just
people
yeah,
out.
he's just he's kind of like just like a lovable goof, and like you listen to his interviews, you're like, oh,
No,
okay,
you're a lovable goof.
no, man.
Have you listened to our
Um,
latest shows?
no, I can't. I know. I don't listen.
They're
I don't
pretty
like
good.
it.
You should listen to some of the latest shows we put up. Like I put up the one where I was talking about going to see Devo and they didn't play an encore. And I was just pissed off as fuck for like the entire show. And
Yeah, I
you were
think I
like,
just.
well, they're getting old. I'm like, fuck that, they're getting old. There's still like old bands like the Rolling Stones that are still touring and Kiss, and they're old as fuck, like older than Devo. And
Yeah.
they're still playing encores. They're not
But
gypping their
I
fans.
mean, do you think they have a budget? Like, I mean, I know Devo is pretty
Devo are
huge, but
rich. Of course they have a budget. They're fucking
yeah,
millionaires.
probably.
They're probably more rich than the Rolling Stones and Kiss.
Um, you think? Nah.
I don't know. They're pretty well to do. I mean, with it, it's on like TV commercials and
But they
shit
were,
too.
they weren't. Were they always active? I mean,
They disappeared in the '90s, but they would come back and do Lollapaloozas and stuff. But as we talked about, like for some reason, it was here in Salt Lake on a Lollapalooza tour that something happened with Devo, and I don't know what it was, or the show got shut down, or something happened, and they would not come back to this state. They refused. They had been to like Vermont and fucking states like that where like nobody fucking lives except for the members of Fish. They've been to fucking New Zealand, but not Salt Lake City, Utah, except for they came to Park City last winter. And I'm not super pissed, but like I said, I went to see him. It was like over $100 to see him,
oh,
and they didn't even play for an hour because the first 20
I
minutes of their
know.
set was a taped intro and a fucking film. So they
Right.
really only played for
Well,
40
and
minutes. And I was like,
that's
fuck
what
this.
I think
No
that was.
encore?
Well, that's what I was talking about. Like, it wasn't like an actual concert. It was.
Well, still, I
Well, it's
mean,
a
if people
Sundance
pay to see
film
you and you're there and you're playing, why can't you walk your ass out and play another 5 minute song? Come on, dude. That's bullshit. I'm sorry, I call
because
bullshit on
it
that. Whether they had press or not, and they were there all day in Park City, probably for a couple of days. They can talk to the press. They didn't need to
was
disappoint their fans.
promotion for their little
I
film.
know, but I'm just saying, if you're a band who plays live for your fans are yelling for you out in the audience playing Devo, Devo, and you fucking turn on the lights and like, we're done. Okay. So I paid 150 or what was it, $200 for 40 minutes, and then I got a fucking parking ticket. Anyway, we talked about that. Like
Anyway,
I said, it was a cool show, and I was glad to see him. I was a little irked that they didn't play more of it. Oh well.
yeah.
And I'm also pissed off because now KK's Priest and Accept are coming, but they're not coming here, but they're going to fucking Denver. Fuck Denver.
And
And I
I
even
get.
messaged. It's funny. Check this out. I put it on their tour thing on their Facebook page. I said, "Hey, skip Denver and come to Salt Lake instead." And like Ripper Owens like loved my comment.
Mhm.
So I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Fucking do it! Don't just love my comment. Make it happen, Ripper. Fuck Denver. Make them drive here, like we always got to do."
Yeah. I don't know.
That's right.
In Wyoming,
Epic
it so
rant number fucking 54.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's um.
Well, anyways, I'm
Us-
sorry that the guy from Brujeria died.
yeah.
That's a bummer.
Rest,
Pinche Peach, man.
rest,
He was a
rest
fucking
in
awesome,
metal.
funny guy.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I know.
You're
I
gonna
keep.
say that Devo should have played longer,
No.
but you're
Devo's
thinking it.
fine. Devo's fine.
Oh, are they? I have no problem with them. I just think they should have
I
played
was
more.
like,
That's all.
was the only thing is like next week I was like looking at my schedule to see if I could make it work because Slaughter's playing in Rock Springs. I'm like, oh, finally a
Rock
Wyoming show.
Springs, Wyoming.
Yeah, but
Now that's a fucking small town, isn't it? Or is it?
it's kind of small, yeah, but it's
Why are
it's
they
bigger
playing
than
there?
I don't know, it's probably like the same reason they play in Ogden. It's like
So I don't
some
get
of
it.
those.
Like these bands will sometimes they'll tour and they'll hit like the weirdest corner cities of like
Mhm.
these weird states. Like who the fuck is in Rock Springs? Like who the
Dude,
fuck is in Ely, Nevada?
I
Like what the fuck are
remember
they
I
doing?
remember like there was a time, and it was like in the maybe like the mid 2000s. Like I'd be looking for like shows, and it would be like what's one that I'm thinking of specifically. It'd be like Bullet Boys, or one of my like those bands I love from the 80s, or Dawkins, and it'd be like Vernal, Utah, or
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Duchesne, or
Or
like
or like what's that where UVU is? You know where that is? It's out south, like by Point of
Price,
the Mountain.
Utah.
Yeah, like what the fuck are they doing? There's bands playing out there too.
Yeah,
Like
Price, Utah. And you're like,
yeah,
wow,
like
that's like in the middle of nowhere,
what?
but
Who the fuck's
but
going out there? That's like Skinwalker territory. Why the fuck are they
yeah,
playing out there?
but part of me is like that's rad. Like, there's something kind of almost like weirdly surreal about like like a kind of a metal band.
Do you think they know what they're doing? Like that's a mistake, or do they really want to play in a small town?
No, I think I don't know. I think it's probably has to do with like their booking agent, and for whatever reason there was enough of a demand. Like if you think about it, like you could probably pack like a club there, There's no competition, right? It's not like there's six other bands playing
Yeah, but there's not that many
in Vernal,
people.
Utah that night, right?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who live out there, but do they listen to metal? I don't think
Hmm.
so.
Think about
Maybe
it.
some.
It's kind of like working class.
It's more like Chet
What
Rock or somebody would go out there and pack a house, not fucking
yeah,
some rock band.
or Slaughter or Dawkins, people that grew up like on that,
I don't know, man. You
where they
think
went and
so? Maybe I'm wrong, but I
they
worked out in
listened to.
Vernal on the oil rigs, and to me, everybody out
I
there
was
was
gonna
like
say,
yokel dokel fucking Joe Dirt, man. And trust me, maybe that's
really? Well,
changed
I
since
mean, I
that time.
know, but I love Vernal. But but yeah, I mean, I don't know. What was another one? Like it was like oh. But yeah, just like kind of like a small town in Utah, It was just like, kind of odd, or they'll play in Ogden, they'll play the Ogden Theater or whatever. But
Now Ogden, I can see there's a lot of hard knocks in Ogden who like metal and punk. That's understandable, but not fucking Vernal or fucking Rock Springs, Wyoming. I mean, that's just weird.
I'm surprised, like, cause I like so like a coworker of mine, like she had like a surgery she had to go to, and I took her, and it was in Casper, Wyoming. So I spent a few days in Casper. It was, man, I fell in love with that town. Like it's not like I describe it as like, historic Ogden, that was the 24th Street or 25th Street in Ogden.
Not specifically, no, not really. I know
Well,
Washington Street's like their main
the
artery.
yeah, it's not Washington because Washington is like the north south, but um it's the one that goes east west, and it's got like all the bars and the restaurants. Historic whatever, 20, I think it's like historic 24th Street. But those old buildings. But Casper is like that part of Ogden had a child with the Marmalade District, or the Avenues. It's a really cool town. But I just,
I think it sounds to me like you like it just because it's named after Casper the Friendly Ghost.
exactly. Yeah, that's actually it.
Is
You
that
know,
it?
I like this little gay ghost.
Casper's not gay. Not that there's anything
Dude,
wrong with that.
you don't think? Yeah, he's
Casper is just a really nice
well.
kid. He's just really
But
friendly.
actually, it's kind of weird when you think about it.
He's a
Casper's
little
like
boy. It's a little boy
it's a
ghost.
ghost of a dead child. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, why were we watching that?
Casper's a cute kid. He has his little friends like Wendy the Witch and like the little
Hmm.
devil guy.
But
You
how did
leave
he
Casper
die?
alone.
How did he die?
I don't know.
He was obviously a real child at one time, and
There are some who think Casper is actually the ghost of Richie Rich because they're the
oh,
same comic book company.
so Richie Rich died as a child,
Maybe, I
probably
don't know.
probably buried in
I mean, Casper
a
is in
dump
a
truck full
mansion,
of
haunting
gold
the mansion
coins,
with
like
his
dropped
friends.
on his head. He drowned in his. I'm thinking of like Scrooge McDuck, but
Oh my God. Come on.
I know, dude. I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, anyway, um, so did you read that article I sent you about the streaming thing?
No,
It's a
well,
lady named Dorothy. Apparently, there's a band called Dorothy. I'm like, what the fuck is
Dorothy.
that? Her
Well,
name is
okay, but
Dorothy
I've
Martin.
I've checked out Dorothy. They're actually she's cool. Um,
Is that a metal band or what are they?
it's like hard rock. I would say maybe it's kind of like Lizzie Hale, sort of that, or like if there was like a modern version of Joan Jett or Scandal. Um, you know what I
Well,
mean?
I read that article tonight, and
But here's the thing. I think a lot of her music was co-written and produced by Trev Lukather, who is the son of Steve Lukather, who is the guitar player of Toto, and
oh,
basically
really?
every album in the '80s he's played on. He's basically on every Michael Jackson track off Thriller, you know. Um, but yeah,
Sweet Luther, man. That's Toto. I gotta say, we'll talk about Toto in a little while because I've been watching my video app, Excite Videos. I just switched to a different thing, a different theme, and there's different Toto videos. I'm like, those guys are fucking good. It's really
oh
good.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
wow.
and
I'm
and
thinking
his
about going to see Cheap Trick and Heart. They're playing right down the street from my house in September at the fucking Maverick Center. So I'm like,
Cheap Trick would be cool. Yeah, man, Cheap
I
Trick's
was never
right.
a big Cheap Trick guy, but I mean, I liked a lot of Heart's older stuff, but not their '80s shit. It was terrible. Like These Dreams and all that kind of. It was just crap. But
Yeah, but you gotta
anyway,
admit, man, it's like we talk about a lot, It was like we talked about the last episode. Like it was like I don't know if you released it, but where we were talking about like how good some of those like 80s pop bands were, right? We were just talking about some of those, and I think
well,
I
I
even
mean,
brought up
Toto and all those bands, they go back into the '70s, and that's the stuff I really like
Toto.
Toto and Jefferson Starship. Despite We Built This City and that kind of crap, like before that in the early '80s, they were a fucking good heavy rock band. They were really
Yeah,
good.
or
Lots
but
of
I'm
those
I'm
bands.
talking about like almost like that sort of trying to think of something. I maybe I mentioned Scandal, that song The Warrior.
Yeah,
That was a good one with what's her name, Patty Smythe, and
yeah.
but another one that like kind of popped up band that like, and I went on
Patty
like a deep
Smythe, the
dive.
Warrior. That's Vincent Dawn. Christopher Winters loves that. That's one of my old radio show acolytes. But anyways, what?
It's a great tune. But another band that was like I kind of went on a deep dive was Till Tuesday.
Yeah,
Do you remember them?
yeah. I mean, their one-hit wonder
Hush,
song was
hush, keep it down
"Ah,
now.
Voices
Voices
Carry."
carry.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like, yeah. What was her name? Because she did a cameo on a Rush song, one of the '80s Rush albums. Why can't I think of her name? That's gonna drive me crazy.
It's Lindsay something, isn't it?
No, 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 it's not. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Look it up. You got your Google machine
I
up.
am. Hold on, man. It was Amy Mann. Duh. Amy Mann with two N's. But yeah, like and they're one of those bands that you can almost like throw a dart, and every song is like cool, like just got a good atmosphere, a good hook. And she's got a cool look, like really unique looking, especially back in the '80s. She kind of had that weird. She kind of looked like a female Billy Idol.
That wasn't really that unique in the '80s. A lot of people had that hairstyle.
No, but I mean, she's just got a trippy look though back then, like kind of weird eyes.
Weird eyes.
Yeah, they're sort of piercing eyes, kind of mousy with piercing eyes.
Piercy, like
Oh,
Stephen Piercy.
like Stephen Piercy.
She
Yeah.
has Stephen Piercy's eyes.
No, dude. They're kind of psychotic, really, but in a good way.
Oh man.
Dude,
Well,
forget it,
anyways,
man. We like crazy chicks.
this Dorothy chick went off about streaming, especially
Mm.
Spotify, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I don't know who this girl is, but she knows what the fuck. So she's talking about starting up a union of musicians because they don't get paid jack. And then that dumb fuck who runs Spotify just made
Mhm.
that smart ass comment that it doesn't cost anything to create records or music, which everybody's pissed off at him for now. Not to
No,
mention that
dude.
nobody gets shit and they just get music for free and they get paid at Spotify and the musicians and labels don't, which I
Yeah.
can attest to through personal experience. So
Mm.
she's talking about having a union. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's what I've been saying. Let's fucking do it. It's like labels and bands, like all of it. Like, what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, uh, once again, like it's one of those things that like I don't know what the answer is, but if someone can figure it out, man, they're gonna be heroes. Because I mean, the cost of making music is more than just like monetary. I mean,
Well, yeah,
It's
there's a lot of time and toil, and like if you just read Tom
blood, sweat, and
Warrior's
tears,
book, Are
man.
You Morbid? You can just see the shit they went through, and then that's why they put out Cold Lake, because he was so stressed out from Into the Pandemonium. They just had to let their hair down, so to speak, and just cut a fuck it kind of album. That's just, there's a lot of stress and time and toil. There's money, there's writing, recording. It's like wrangling people to be there on time or at all. Like if you're Kiss, things like that. All
Oh
of that.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, so much goes into it. So it's very, it's labor intensive. It's
And that's the band, and there's like the label who pays to
emotionally
put it out,
taxing,
like
and
promo and advertising and all that, and production. It's just, there's a lot of shit just for some dickhead to take it and put it up on the internet and take all the money that you get from it, and no one gets anything otherwise. So
yeah, like, and I don't know what the solution is. I mean, I love the idea of streaming. I mean, I think it's just the amount of music we have at our fingertips is awesome, but
well, yeah,
yeah,
everybody says that, but not if you're involved in the fucking music industry. I mean, you were too. You
yeah.
should know better,
Well,
dirty bastard.
no, I don't know better because, like, dude, I've never been paid really a cent for my music.
There
It's
you
always,
go.
I mean, and that's maybe my fault that I never really, like, I was always, um, I was too scared to really jump in full on. So I always in the back of my head, and was like, okay, this is just a hobby, right? Even though it's like a hobby that consumes,
That's the
fucking
thing.
everything.
I have to say
So
that's a danger, because that's how a lot of
yeah,
people regard their music now. Like this kid I work with at work,
y-
Spencer. He's a
yeah,
great creative guitarist and a drummer. He writes all
mhm,
this music. He has one band where he does everything himself, and he's in another band with some friends.
uh-huh,
Really good music. They could be selling records, but they just put it up and give it away for free. Like, oh, I'm
yeah.
like, no, you should be
Well, no,
making
yeah,
money,
I
dude.
mean,
Fuck
yeah,
that.
yeah. There needs to be almost like you almost have to have that Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley mindset where you're just like
Well, you don't have to be
protect
that
yourself.
greedy. You have to be determined, but they're like way determined and like, like ridiculous to the
Like, and
point.
that's what's hard
But
because,
I
like,
guess you have to be like that. I don't know. You can't just be like friendly. But
well,
my point is, you can't just say, oh well, like just give it away. Like, what's the point? Like, no, we should say, fuck
it's not,
you, pay for it, fuck
dude.
off.
It's not even what's the point. I mean, I think the problem is with a lot of musicians, like the music is in itself like a rewarding thing that you're gonna do it no matter what, right? And like you almost like if you get a song recorded and put it out there, like you're almost just so happy about it that like any monetary after the fact is like gravy. Like the hard part is done and the reward is kind of there, like just getting it out there. So I mean there is that aspect to it, and I don't want to hammer on it too much because once again that's it's what gets exploited by corporate interests, you know what I mean?
What?
Because it's like these guys are gonna make music no matter what, so I can just sit and exploit it all day because they're gonna keep making music because it's in their nature, right? To just keep creating music. They're gonna do it no matter what.
Well, that's what large record labels do. However, like I said, like this girl's talking about forming a union. Like
Mhm.
that's awesome, because that would
No,
also
I mean,
protect you from shit like that, right? Wouldn't
it
it?
might be one of the few places where unions actually are useful these days.
Well, if I talked about this a long time ago on one of our shows, I said I wasn't talking about a union specifically, but that's kind of what the idea was.
Just
Is we
some kind
should
of front, some kind
Well,
of
we should
united
band
front.
together so that we make our own Spotify or a thing like that, so we get paid, or make the other ones that are there pay us that other normal people use,
Mhm.
and have our own courier service or something for international mail for smaller labels. Because that's where I just sent free 7-inch records today, and it cost me $33.
Mhm.
3 records, and that's to the guy who sings in the band, David Ingram from Benediction. I'm like, fuck, 3 small 7-inch records. It cost me $33, and he said he'll pay for it, and he will because he's a cool guy. But I feel really guilty making him do that because I'm the label. I'm like, he shouldn't have
Mhm.
to pay me. Like, it's just wholesale, like $2 a record. That's all he should be paying me. But because it cost me 30 fucking $3 to send them to him in the first place,
Mhm.
he's willing to pay me. It's fucking bullshit. So that
Yeah.
I think she's got a good point that we should do some kind of a union or something, or something along those lines, so that we get our money and safeguard our our investment. Because otherwise, why are we doing this? Just because we love it? That's great, but come on.
Hmm.
I mean, what do you think? You've been in the band. I mean,
I don't, yeah, that's kind of one of my problems. Is like I've been in bands, but I've never really been on that side of like I've never, so like in category 5, Dustin kind of handled that. That was sort of his thing, the marketing, the just putting it together. I just play guitar, right?
yeah,
So I wouldn't know what it's like to kind of be on that other
you're
side.
just the Tommy
Same with Super.
Thayer.
Yeah, I'm the Tommy Thayer. I'm the
Do what you're told and shut up.
mm-hmm.
Here's your
It's true.
$5.
Yeah, yeah, here's your drink ticket. And you know, your $20 from your cut of the door. So I mean that's always where I've been because once again it's like, the playing was its own reward, and it was so much fun that, like you didn't really think about like the money side of it so much because it's just what you do, right? You play guitar, where you can, when you can,
I
and
know, but that's my whole point is like there's a danger of thinking like that these days
no, it
because you know that you're not going to make
like
money from it because of the way
exactly.
things are. It shouldn't be like that. I'm
That's what I
not
said though,
saying
but
you have to be
but
super
it is
rich.
like that, it's like the mentality of most artists is because it's like that's why we have guitars
And you
laying
don't have
around
to
our
be
house.
okay.
We
My
just
thing is
pick
you
them
don't
up
have
and
to be
play 'em.
super rich,
Mm-mm,
right?
mm-mm.
Like those days of music, I think are long gone. Where like you're Kiss and you're like you just buy your girlfriend a fucking Porsche or something or whatever. Like you're super rich. Like I think that's probably not going to come back, or at least it's gone for now. But you can
Mhm.
still make some money and make a living at it. It's
No,
just
at
it's
least
ridiculous.
it would be nice to just make enough money to fund the next project or to get that guitar you're looking for or that piece of outboard gear that you need, just to take to put back into the music to perpetuate the music at least,
You know
And
that
I
what you're talking
agree.
about. That's a label's perspective. That's my perspective as a label. Is what money I make off of mail order and
Yeah,
sales.
you just
I'm
roll it
not
back in.
buying fucking steaks and shit and going out. I'm putting it into the next release, whether it's the same band or a different band. That's all it is. I was
Mhm.
thinking about this the other night, like Earache Records, because I remember Napalm Death got really pissed off, and a lot of other bands talked shit on Earache. Well, I'm like, well, Earache's a small label. They probably made what money they made and put that into the next few releases. So it's not all
Mhm.
about the one band. It's on the label who's like, what the fuck? They
Mhm.
probably paid a little bit and sent you on tour, but for the most part, they had to like finance the next few releases. It's not like they're Columbia Records, where they're just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and that's what Devo was on. They were on a major label, and there's a story in one of their
Mhm.
books where they talked about this old fat old man who just didn't know shit about music or them came in wearing a Devo hat and he kept singing like "Whip It" like the silly old man going, "When a problem comes along," and he
Mhm.
said, "You guys do whatever you want as long as you give me another "Whip It" hit single." And that was when they said, "What the fuck are we doing?" And they
And
started.
never did.
They didn't actually, and they made a song called "Through Being Cool," which is a response to all of that, and that's what they got, And actually, it's pretty funny because since that time, Devo never really quite made it that big ever again. So but yeah,
No,
it's
no.
corporate bullshit's different from like Earache. Earache, I mean, now they were bought by Sony, but I'm just talking about like small labels like Season of
Mm,
Mist, like
yeah.
like Severed or whatever the fuck that other guy, Deeds of Flesh, his label, like
Oh,
mine, Slaughterhouse Records. I mean, we're not corporate, we're just doing what we can.
yeah, yeah. What was the D's Flesh? Unique leader,
Unique leader, that's right. Well,
transcending
anyways, I mean, this girl's
obscurity.
got a good point. I think a union's a good idea. I mean, you could see that, right? Like,
Yeah, or yeah, I mean, some kind of collective bargaining sort of apparatus where you can maybe even join like a guild or some kind of yeah. And but I don't know, like I don't know how those are structured or anything like that. I mean, but I mean, yeah, I hope she can do something with that. Like that would be great. And like I said, I mean, if she's got kind of like that Toto connection, so she might be pretty well networked with a lot of those
And
I
that's
don't
actually
really.
funny that you mentioned that, because I was just scrolling through Blabbermouth before you called,
Hmm.
and it's actually Toto's bass player, Steve Porcaro. He's the brother of the drummer, right? Jeff Porcaro.
Yeah, Jeff Porcaro, who passed away.
Oh, really? When was
Yeah.
that?
Oh, Jeff Porcaro passed away. I think it was like 2015 or something like that.
Ah, that's a bummer, man. He's a fucking good drummer.
Dude, yeah, the
I didn't know that. That sucks.
yeah
That's a
that
bummer, man. Well,
shuffle.
anyway, his brother, the bass player, Steve, I guess it was just in the news that he sold Toto's online catalog to somebody. It wasn't Spotify.
Oh, he
So there
died
you
in
go.
1992. Holy hell.
Oh, really? That's a long time ago. Shit.
Yeah, man, crap.
That's a bummer. But yeah, anyway, they sold their catalog, and the bass player did it. Now I hope they don't have a Hall and Oates thing, because that's exactly what John Oates tried to do, and Daryl Hall got all pissed off and butthurt about it, stopped him. But
Uh,
that's what happened with Toto. They just sold their online catalog to, actually, let me see. I got that up right here. Primary Wave Music,
I
whoever
hope
that
Luke
is.
got a cut.
What's that?
I hope Luke Lukather got a cut.
Well, I'm sure he did,
Yeah.
unless maybe he doesn't give a fuck. I'm sure he
Oh,
doesn't
he does.
not give a fuck.
Trust me. If you ever like his book is great, The Gospel According to Luke. If you ever,
No, that would be an interesting read though, because it's
I would
funny
actually,
because
I would
at
actually
first,
read. I would get the audio book because it's narrated. It's read by Steve Lukather, dude, and the guy is just cool. Like he just drips with cool.
well, I mean, that's what I was gonna say is you look back at their music, and to me, like as a little kid, I heard "Hold the Line" on the radio when it was new. First of all, it's just a cool song, but secondly, that song reminds me of when my friend across the street, when I lived in Texas, showed me in his dad's bathroom a stack of Playboys and penthouses. I was like, oh my God. So forever, evermore, that song, Hold the Line, reminds me of seeing naked women for the first time, like
Da, da,
realizing that
da,
they don't
da.
look like me. I was like, oh
Love
wow.
isn't always on. Well, and in a weird
But
way,
that
like
aside, it's just like Steve
Toto.
Lukather's done so much cool shit, like the Dune soundtrack, Michael Jackson, just hard rock with Toto, and then he played in Ringo Starr's band. It's just
With
fucking
Michael
everything.
McDonald, he almost played in Steely Dan.
Oh, that's crazy too, because I love
Yeah,
Steely
yeah.
Dan. He would have
I think
given
he.
Steely Dan some balls to their sound.
Well, there's kind of a connection because I think Jeff Porcaro was in Steely Dan or played.
What? See, that's why. Why do I know that name, Jeff Porcaro? Is it just from Toto, or was he in Steely Dan or something?
Think he might have been. I'll have to look,
Because
dude.
you
But
can hear the jazz in his drums, but it's really heavy. He hits the stuff really hard, like even on "Hold the Line," which I've always thought of as kind of a poppy song, but it's actually really fucking heavy if you pay attention. It's like, fuck, these guys know what the fuck they're doing, man. That piano player, and then they have all these different guys doing vocals too.
okay,
Like the
so
piano
yeah,
player on that song sings Africa on the few
Jeff
years later.
Jeff Porcaro was a drummer on Katie Lied.
On what?
Katie Lied.
Oh, Katie Lied, the Steely Dan album. Yeah, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
So yeah, there's like a
Where's
Dan
Toto
connection.
from? What state are they from? California?
Yeah, they're LA. They're part of like there's like I think there was called the Wrecking Crew. It was like the first kind of wave of real hot like LA session musicians. Which and then like Precaro and Lukather and like Mike Landau, or is it Dave? Yeah, it's Mike Landau. Um, and a couple of, like some keyboard players and stuff like that were like the second wave of like hot shit, LA studio musicians, and kind of like the last real wave of it, so they're literally like on call like from 79 to like 93, they're literally on every major studio album, you know what I mean, that was put out of LA. Everything from, I mean, like I said, he's played on everything from like Michael McDonald, Christopher Cross to
See, that's why I know
Michael
that like
Jackson
the
and
name Jeff Skunk Baxter was like that in New York. He produced a lot
yeah,
of Steely Dan. He produced Kiss, one of Kiss's solo albums, I think. Probably Jeans, I think. I don't remember
Skunk
if he
did
played on a Kiss album, but yeah,
probably,
there's
yeah,
always guys like that.
yeah, yeah. And that's kind of what Toto was. I mean, there were just those musicians getting together and like, hey, let's just do our own thing for a little bit, see what happens. So, yeah, man, it's really cool. I would get his book, like Steve Luther's book, and
Yeah, I
like
probably
I
should.
said, it's one of the ones that like it's worth it to check out the audiobook because he's just entertaining to listen to. You know.
I should send you in the mail. I've mentioned this before in another show, that Tom Warrior book. So you can really read it all the way through because it really is like about a lot of the record industry and holding the band together and band members who just kind of don't give a fuck. And
Mhm.
I think you would really be into it, especially like he's just bagged on the label like nonstop. I'm like, dude, it was a small thrash label. Come on, man. What do you expect? But I
Yeah.
guess, back then it was a different story because they had money. But
And I probably would have been one of those band members that would be sort of complained about. Like, I gotta admit, man, towards the end of Cat 5, I got pretty flaky, you know. So
so, episode 13 of our show, you told me that you did not play on A New Breed of Rebellion. And like one of the last shows we did, I listened to, and you said you did. So, set the record straight. Were you on that fucking album or not, Vinnie
New
Vincent?
Breed of Rebellion, yeah. Like
Okay, so you
I'm
must
I'm
not
all
have like
over that
heard
album
me correctly
actually.
on episode
Wait, hold no,
13
wait,
because you
no, no,
said
no, no. A New Breed, hold on.
that's the blue one with the girl and the little
No,
girl holding the
I'm
teddy
not
bear.
on that one. No, I'm on Rising Anger.
So I thought you were on that one because that's when I met you. You started coming to the abyss, and you said I'm in this band, but
No,
you're
yeah,
not on that record.
I'm not on A New Breed. No, not at all.
And
I'm
that's the
not on.
blue album with the girl with the sleeveless shirt, and they're turned
Yeah.
around looking at something, and there's a little girl with a teddy bear, right?
Yeah, I'm not on that album.
Okay, so you're not on that album, but you joined shortly thereafter.
Yeah, yeah, like right after it was released. I remember signing pictures of like signing some of those CDs over the old guitar player's face. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Um
So you were literally the Tommy Thayer of Category 5.
the Tommy Thayer of Category 5, yes. I'm the Mark St. John of Category.
Yeah, or
No,
that. Like you were the unseen guy who never played live, but you were there, like waiting in the wings. And
yeah, so I played on Rising Anger, uh Hymns of Dissension, I think was the other name. And then I did some solos on the last one, which was Resurrect. They're recording another one right now.
I thought they just put out one where you played some solos.
Yeah, that was Resurrect the Insurgents, but that was like put out in like 2012, maybe 2013.
Are you sure? Because
Oh yeah,
you told me when we went to Carcass like a year ago in December that you bumped into a guy and he invited you to play some solos on the record. That was
yeah,
like just over a year ago.
yeah. It never happened. Like
I thought
so.
you said you did it.
No, no. I said I probably would do it if they, but
I thought you
I
told
don't.
me you did it. Motherfucker, are you lying to me? Every time we do a show, you
No,
say two different things.
no, I didn't do.
You're a goddamn politician.
I am.
Well, read my
Uh,
lips. No new taxes. Well, we need to raise taxes because
well, my cognitive function is failing, so I'm
cognitive
stepping
dissonance.
down.
Eddie.
I'm not gonna run again next year.
There you go.
No.
You're gonna step aside and let what's your friend's name? Angie, like take over for you?
Yeah, she's my Kamala Harris. No, I don't know.
Well, anyways, yeah, there you go. Like I just saw that link pop up about that girl, and I was just like completely
Yeah.
like mobilized because I'm like, finally, somebody else gets it. Like, why am I the only one that's like saying this? It's
You should check out her songs. It might not be totally. I mean,
so the
it's
name
not
of the
super.
band is just Dorothy.
Yeah, but she's really kind of cool. Got a
What's
cool
her
like
real name?
raspy.
Dorothy Stratton? Or
I
am I
don't
thinking
know.
of somebody else?
I just know like when I checked it out, I thought it was really good. And I checked it out
Oh no,
because I was
Dorothy Martin.
yeah, and I was kind of
Dorothy
checking it out
Martin, the
because
band is Dorothy.
hmm and I was kind of
Interesting.
curious about like the Steve or the Trevor Lukather, because Trev Lukather has a band, like so Steve Lukather's son has a band, and I think the drummer is the son of Phil Collins, and I can't remember. There's like another sort of famous like son. It's like It's like the son of Toto almost, kind of that. So
Talking
they,
of connections like that, it's kind of funny because at the barbecue, it's funny because all the characters who come through there. We've talked before how I've made dinner for Mitt Romney, and I've made dinner for Blue Oyster Cult, Journey, and I think Crocus or somebody, and a couple other rock bands and country bands,
Focus.
bands that were in town.
Cool.
But check this out. The other day, this guy comes in. He's like, yeah, it's like so and so, the bass player from the Steve Miller Band, loves this place. I'm like, who? And he's like, yeah, the bass player from Steve Miller Band. I'm like, you mean the black guy? Because he hasn't been in it for a while, has he? Like, no, not him. It's like some other dude after him that when they come here to play, he comes to this place all the time. I'm like, oh yeah. And then the guy who was telling me this, turns out he was a roadie for Exodus. I'm like,
Oh
what?
yeah.
He's like, yeah, I played some shows with them, like when Gary couldn't play. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, really? You're fucking with me? He's like, no, really. Like Gary Hole, I talk to all those guys all the time. Like he's been in Slayer, we've been talking, and like Rick Hunolt and all those guys, we all talk. I'm like, and I forget that the dude, he gave me a nickname. I can't remember what the fuck it was now. It was like Ajax or Blitz or something like that. But some dude that lives here in Salt Lake, and he loves to eat at the barbecue too. That's what's funny about the barbecue, is it attracts characters like that. And there's also this
Yeah.
other dude, this black guy named Keith, who comes in and he played guitar for Elvis. And we're like, bullshit. He's like, no, he showed us a picture on his phone of him with Elvis's backing band. It's mostly all black dudes, and he was in there. I was like, holy shit, this guy fucking played for Elvis, man. Fuck, and he lives in Salt Lake.
Well, once again, I mean, believe it or not, it shows you the power of good barbecue. Like,
And Air Supply. I made dinner for Air Supply a couple of times because one of those guys at least lives here, right?
yeah, Russell, what's his name?
Just crazy. It's like it's that I'm gonna miss that about restaurants, man. Especially that one. It's like it was unique, and
Hmm.
it sucked. It's gone the way of the Dodo.
Mm.
Not the Dodo restaurant because they're still around, but
Is that any
bullshit.
good?
It's just an Americana place. I don't know.
I
It's
don't
all
know.
right. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not my
Well, let's
theme of
figure out.
restaurant.
Like, I don't know. I like your idea of, because, like I said, dude, you know the business. Like, I mean, at least the
The business is
mechanics of.
really it's like the music industry, to be honest with you. It's constantly changing. The demographic is constantly changing. You've got shit
You
like
know what?
DoorDash, which is like the Spotify of
You know,
the restaurant
right.
industry. What?
Uber Eats and Door.
It
I was
is.
gonna
It is.
say, yeah, that's
It's
true.
like one third of our business now is those pad things where we just get it ready and some fucker who doesn't even speak English comes and picks it up.
Uh,
And that's it, you know, and some nights that's
it's
all we do is that. And there's
thing
nobody in the
is
restaurant.
though, like it's not the Spotify. Like, it's almost like the ideal. It's what Spotify should be, like DoorDash, right? Because
So
the
what,
restaurant's
someone
still getting
orders a
paid.
CD and comes and gets it?
Yeah, but you still get paid for the CD, right?
Yeah, it should be. But I mean, that's my
It's,
point is like you
it's
don't
not like
see the
you're
people in your
not like
restaurant.
some guy steals your CD and then
Well,
delivers
okay,
to
look at it
someone,
this way. The thing to keep in mind though is when we do DoorDash, we pay them for the service. So we're actually losing money with every sale we do on DoorDash. We're making very little. They take a big part of it, and then
So
it's
that's
we charge more fees across the board to people who buy on DoorDash. So they're actually paying like $15 for one sandwich versus 8 if
I
they
know,
came in to
no,
get it.
I've tried DoorDash and it's like so not worth it. I was like,
It's
okay,
not really because
I just
I'll
bought
tell
a
you
Big
what,
Mac
man.
meal for 38 fucking bucks, and I'm like, okay, this is.
And a lot of times the driver steals the order. Like you got to make them confirm it on their phone. If they don't, they'll just steal it and eat it. Like I've caught drivers in the bathroom not washing their hands. And then they go get the food, and I try to chase them down. Like, hey, you need to wash your hands. The guy like ran out the door because he knew I was coming after him.
Mm.
Shit like that. Or they'll take it with them in the bathroom. You know, just
Well, no,
it
and
gets there.
honestly,
It's
like,
cold. They haven't. You know, it's like it's cold and all like warm and sweaty in the box. It's just not worth it. You're paying double the price. It's just
well,
stupid.
and ideally, you just like
And I've done
if you're gonna
DoorDash too.
deliver, like if you're gonna deliver it, just have your own like your own fleet, right?
Well, you can't do that. That's
I
just
mean,
crazy.
but I mean, it's a pain in the ass, but like, I mean, it's like Domino's or something, you know what I mean? I mean,
But I mean, a
or
lot of people come to get it, but that's the thing is like a lot of people don't. Like I've done DoorDash too. Like I tried it delivering it just for kicks to make some extra money. And a
Mhm.
lot of the times it's just like really weird introverted people or people that are high as fuck in their pajamas at any given time of the day just don't want to go get it themselves. That's kind of
Mhm.
all it really is. Sometimes it's not. Other times it's like an office building. It's like people getting lunch, but a lot of times it's just some fuck in his pajamas that's high as fuck and doesn't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
just
mean,
dumb, and
I
that's a
don't
lot of
know.
your demographic now too. It's like it's dine-in restaurants like that.
But that could almost be like a sort of like selling point in itself. Like you're just like, you know what? This food speaks for itself. We're not gonna DoorDash it. It's worth the trip. Just
It's
get in
probably
your
not a bad
car
idea
and get
because,
out here,
like I
you know?
said, the amount we pay to do DoorDash,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. I mean, we do get a lot of sales from it, so yeah, okay, but really, at the end of the day, probably not so much
You know, and then just like you said,
because
you
we
know,
pay
just
them essentially to do it.
sort of make, you know, like the Burgertory, you know, just make it somewhere where it's like a unique experience, you know. Come here. It's got a
Well, it
cool
is like
vibe,
that.
you
It
know.
was like that. It was a sit-down family restaurant. It was gluten-free.
Yeah.
It was good home
But
cooked
I'm
food,
talking
like
like,
hearty food, and
you know, think about like you know, don't tell me it's not on your bucket list because it's on mine, but like the Geiger bar, right, is
yeah.
in Switzerland. Like, can't DoorDash that, you know, you got to go there and sit on one of the alien chairs and have a, absinthe or whatever. You know, you
Well,
just,
you're not going to DoorDash a bar, but I know what you mean. But yeah, you
yeah,
wouldn't
you know what
like
I mean?
DoorDash some
Just
place in New
make,
York.
yeah, make it an experience, make it worth like kind of just getting in your car and driving there.
Well, that's the whole point. But also with
Yeah.
restaurants, it's like you have and this has always been the thing in Salt Lake, is like it's a 50-50 thing. You've got half the people who are extreme one way, half the extreme other way. So a
Hmm.
lot of people like to go out and eat family dinners. A lot of other people don't. They want to be in and out quickly. They don't want to talk. They don't want to tip. They don't want this or that. They don't even want to leave the house these days. That's why DoorDash is so popular.
Hmm.
So it's that and that. Or you've got this new demographic of younger kids who like the trendy places where you dip in and out really quickly, like those sushi fusion places or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's
Sushi
not like a
burrito.
sit
Yeah.
down family dining like what we are. It's a weird demographic, but we had people moving in from out of state who do like the family sit down dine-in experience. So
Hmm.
it's hard to. At the end of the day, it costs a lot of money to operate. It's just a lot. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that. I want to just because I feel like I'm letting down all our regulars and all these people who love our food, all the gluten-free people who love our food. But it's easier said than done. It's fucking
Oh, I know.
expensive. It's a lot of work. I don't
No,
know.
yeah, the overhead is ridiculous, you know. So
I mean, I want to do it, but that's like I said, that might be a pipe dream for right now. But if
well,
I get some of the good jobs I've been looking at, then maybe down the road I can not only start doing the label with more money, but maybe do that. But
yeah,
who knows?
well,
We'll
that's
see.
something
We
we'll
shall
figure
see.
out.
We shall see.
All right, well, I think that's a good place to.
You're not going anywhere.
Oh, dude, I'm going to bed, son.
Did you eat dinner yet?
No, not really, but I'm not going to. I'm in bed.
Oh my God, he's in bed.
I'm in bed. I'm ready to go. I'm in my skivs,
You're in your what?
my skivvies. I,
What
s-
does that mean? Your
I sleep
underwear?
in, yeah. But you think I sleep in like a onesie? Nah, man.
I thought you did. You told me about that story with your
In my
girl who was taking
assless.
pictures of you sleeping and shit.
I know, yeah, it's creepy shit. Well, it's not. Yeah,
Now that's a funny show.
we don't need to go back that. That's
You
all.
told me you went to therapy for a girl that you didn't like. I'm like, okay, awesome.
Hey, that was her idea. I was just trying to dump her, but the therapist threw me under the bus, sent me home with her. Brutal.
Goddamn
Anyways, I don't want to
therapists.
talk about it anymore. That's all in the past.
All right. Well, before you go, you got to give some people something. What have you been listening to lately?
Oh, okay. Let me pull it up on. I'll just pull up whatever the last band I
Your
listened to.
Spotify bullshit.
Last song I listened to was Shotgun Messiah. I don't care about nothing. Literally the last thing that was played.
Yeah.
So go
Winger?
listen to it. No, Shotgun Messiah.
No, I know I heard you, but are you listening to Winger too?
No, I mean it hasn't come up.
That's
So I
weird. 'Cause
got
usually you're like, winger, bro, winger,
Shotgun
bro,
Messiah,
winger.
and I think right behind that was All My Bridges Are Burning by Winger.
How do we sleep when our bridges are burning?
That's not the one, but
That's not it. I thought that was it.
yeah. So go check out that, and it looks like yeah, Dirty Looks. That was another one I was listening to. Liquid Crush by Dirty Looks. Go listen to it.
You haven't been listening to any death metal?
Um,
Is summer
oh,
your time for like the happy glam stuff? Is that what that is?
no, I've let me see. There's some death metal on here.
'Cause
I was
usually
just looking
summer
at.
for me is like Judas Priest and
Hmm,
that kind of stuff. Real pure heavy metal,
it was
death metal stuff,
trying to think. I mean,
or thrash. Summer is thrash and hardcore. I've been in a really crust mood lately. Been listening to like Nausea, Dysphere, all that kind of stuff. Which I'm sure you know all about those bands, don't you?
looks like the last death metal band I listened to was one called Defloration,
Don't
Necrotic
know that one.
Nightmares, 2008.
Actually, the show I just put up last night, it was me and
Hmm.
you talking about Kerry King's new thing. We were talking about Slayer. So I've actually been listening to Slayer a lot. I listened to South of Heaven all the way through today. It's a good album, but it is kind of a letdown after their kick-ass thrash of Rain and Blood. They just kind of like come at you with that, but it's still a
Yeah.
good record. But
Oh, it is. It's dark. It's got some eerie kind of cool riffs on it. Um, I listened to like the new Judas Priest album yesterday. Not bad, but
what's
like, and I don't know, it just doesn't
what's the
hit
new
me the
one
same.
called?
It's called uh,
Is it's something like Gods of Metal or something kind of like that, or
oh, it's Invincible Shield.
hmm.
Yeah. It's not bad though. I mean, it's solid. It doesn't hit me, and I have to realize maybe it's just like because I was younger when like Defenders of the Faith and Screaming for Vengeance, but
Well,
those
actually,
albums still are
that
just
reminds me. That was something I wanted to do. Like, what's your favorite song off each of those albums, Defenders and
um it's hard to pick just
Screaming for
one.
Vengeance?
Title track off Screaming for Vengeance still just kicks me in the nuts. But I'd say like the standout track on Screaming for Vengeance, believe it or not, is Fever, which is almost a ballad, but just has some really cool kind of changes, you know. Um, Defenders of the Faith, my favorite songs are probably Free Will Burning and Some Heads Are Gonna Roll.
Interesting. I didn't expect you to say Heads Are Gonna Roll.
I like that song, yeah.
That's a pretty good album. I haven't listened to that in a while. I should put that on.
Yeah,
Well, anyways,
cool.
yeah. I think Devil's Child from Screaming for Vengeance, that's my
Oh,
favorite.
that's a good one, yeah.
From I really the one I listen to the most, my go-to on Defenders is fucking Love Bites. I just love that song,
Really?
that crazy, that deep bass
So
and like just
something about that one is just like, and I don't know. What about Turbo? What's your favorite song off Turbo?
uh
Out in the Cold?
none.
Oh, you gotta listen to it again, dude.
I have not listened to Turbo probably since like the year I bought it when it came out in like what
Listen
was it,
to
86?
okay, just pull up the song.
I'd have to say Turbo Lover the song is probably a pretty good song and like it's really just too poppy. They do that shit. They'll have
it's really not
it's
though.
just
Like
like
it's
Point
still
of
good.
Entry and British Steel. It's like they have that poppy attempt at radio cash-ins and all of that album on Turbo is all just like anthemic radio pop feel good shit. Like we don't need no. It's all
Yeah,
shit like that.
that's a
Like
good one.
rock
Now
you all around the world. It's like too
okay,
happy.
listen to the song Reckless off Turbo.
That's the last song on the album. It's
Yeah,
reckless.
yeah.
See, it's just not this just reminds me of the 80s, like that time in the 80s when it was all music was like that. It's just
It's
not a good
good,
time
man.
to me. You love that shit. I don't.
All right.
What else is
Well,
on there? There's Locked In, Out in the Cold,
Wild Nights. That's a good one.
Loud Nights, Hot and Crazy Days, Rocky all around the world, Parental
Good one.
Guidance.
Out in the Cold. You might like Out in the Cold.
Well, I remember Out in the Cold. I remember when they played it live on that tour and like he hit his snare drum. It was so loud it like hurt everybody's ears. The whole audience went, "Oh!" because the snare was up so fucking loud. It was crazy.
And then
I don't know.
Parental
That album is not
Guidance,
my favorite. But
Private Property.
keep your hands off, private. Yeah, I do not like that album. I'm sorry.
Ah, well.
Not a fan, man. I was thinking about putting Point of Entry on my phone so I could listen to those songs. I mean, those are poppy too, but some of them are okay, like Desert Plains and some of those. But yeah, The Rage. Listen to The Rage tonight while I was riding my bike.
Yeah, their reggae song.
Doo 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 doo.
Doo-doo-doo.
White Heat, Red Hot from Hellbent or from Stained Class. That's my favorite album. My favorite song on that album because
Hot
so
Rockin'.
summery.
Watch the video.
Of what?
Hot Rockin'.
Oh yeah, it's a classic video.
Rob Halford is like literally the flag girl. You know, it's like
He's
the winner
what?
of the race gets
Oh,
the
that's in
funk.
Heading Out to the Highway when he's the flag girl.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Heading Out to the Highway is the car race where Glenn and KK are racing and Rob has the flags. And Hot Rock and they're all in the gym, remember, with the towels and they're in the shower.
Showering together.
Like, yeah. Have you ever seen Don't Go, the third video from that album?
No.
The
It's probably.
ballad, Don't Go, I can't
Oh, I
believe you're
think so. It's a
leaving.
horrible song, actually.
And yeah, I know. And then KK is walking through this hallway with all these doves flying, and Rob is like serenading what looks like to KK, "Don't go," and KK is walking away. I'm like, who are you singing to, Rob? Is there something going on with you and KK?
We know, we knew back then. We just nobody wanted to say anything. But,
Oh,
all right, man.
all right, Jiggler. You jiggle yourself in bed. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, brother. See ya.
Is this it?